Hey everyone, welcome back to Plot Unlocked. What if I told you that Supergirl isn't just another DC superhero movie? It's actually setting up one of the most important heroes in the future of James Gunn's DC universe. After making a brief appearance in Superman, Millie Alcock's Kara Zor-El finally steps into the spotlight with a story that's far darker and more emotional than many fans expected. Forced into a desperate race across the galaxy, after Krypto is poisoned by the ruthless Krem, Kara embarks on a dangerous mission that pushes her to confront the trauma of losing Krypton, the pain she's carried for years, and the difficult choices that separate her from her cousin, Superman. Unlike Clark Kent, Kara doesn't always take the righteous path. Throughout the film, she faces impossible moral dilemmas that challenge everything she believes, ultimately shaping her into a very different kind of Kryptonian hero. By the time the adventure comes to an end, Kara and Krypto return to Earth, but it's clear this is only the beginning of her journey. So, what does Supergirl's ending really mean? How has Kara changed, and what does it reveal about her future in the DC universe? Let's break down everything the movie sets up for the next chapter of the DCU. How Supergirl sets up Kara's DCU future. Supergirl concludes with Kara returning to Earth and deciding to give her cousin's adopted world another try as a potential home, setting her up to be a more active figure in the future of the franchise. While Supergirl provides a handy explanation for Kara's absence from the events of Superman, it also unpacks the trauma that has pushed her into a galactic bender over finding a home like Clark Kent. While she feels adrift somewhat by the end of the film, Kara's efforts to protect Ruthie from the internal pain of taking a life speak to how she's found some sense of purpose in helping others. This prompts her to return to Earth to try and make it a home, setting Kara up as an ally for future Superman-centric adventures. Kara could become a defender of the world at large, like her cousin, or be recruited into heroic organizations like the Justice Gang. She could also become one of the more cosmic-focused heroes in the franchise, given her experience exploring space and dealing with people like Lobo, while on her successful quest to save Krypto. Supergirl could even go on to play an important role in the upcoming Superman, Man of Tomorrow sequel, allowing her to actually fly into battle with her cousin, or protect Metropolis while he's focused on contending with Lex Luthor and Brainiac. Of course, this all could be complicated if Clark finds out about Kara's actions in Supergirl. Why Kara won't let Ruthie kill Kren, but does it herself. One of the most intriguing elements of Supergirl has to do with the titular hero's decision to kill Kren. Kara spends much of the film trying to convince Ruthie to murder the villain in revenge for killing her family. The implication is that Kara understands the impulse to kill someone who has wronged you, suggesting she may have crossed that line in the past. While it's never confirmed, Kara's perspective on the internal cost of taking a life hints that she has done it, and that she's still willing to do it if the situation calls for it. While she wants to retain Ruthie's innocence and convinces her to spare the villain, Kara quickly kills him herself as soon as Ruthie is out of earshot. It's a solid subversion of the typical superhero trope where all heroes must protect every life, something that was reaffirmed as a key aspect of the DCU Superman during the events of his own film. Kara, who was raised in Kryptonian society instead of on Earth, doesn't seem to have the same broadly moral views on killing. Instead, her decision seems to be rooted in thinking some people do need to face mortal consequences for their actions. It feels like a realization of her mother and father's pleas that she be good but not weak. A willingness to protect others and support them, even if that means she has to be willing to fight, bleed, and kill to help. Where does Lobo go after Supergirl? Lobo is one of the biggest pulls from the original DC comics, a fan-favorite cosmic bounty hunter who spends much of Supergirl on his own mission. Crossing paths with Kara and Ruthie because of his efforts to capture one of the brigands working for Kryn, Lobo ends up assisting them insofar as it also ensures he captures his bounty. Supergirl ends with Lobo riding off into the distance, but giving both Kara and Ruthie looks of approval at seeing them fight and kill Kryn. This sets up Lobo to potentially become a recurring figure within the DCU, adding a bit more flavor and personality to the cosmic corner of the universe. Lobo could easily appear in something like Lanterns as a wild card that is contending with the Lantern Corps, or in other space-based expansions of the universe. Lobo could also come to Earth and face off with the other heroes or villains, potentially cementing him as a defining anti-hero of the cinematic universe. The true meaning of Supergirl. Supergirl is very much a movie about contending with trauma and not letting it define you. That arc extends to both Kara and Ruthie, both of whom lost their loved ones to tragedies out of their control. Similarly, countless women around the galaxy have been kidnapped by the brigands to be forced into forced marriages, another example of the cruelties of others and the harsh realities of life. Throughout the film, Kara is emotionally distant, but fixated on helping others. Whether that be Krypto, Ruthie, or even the captured women she's never met before, Kara lives by the code her parents installed in her to be good above all else, even if that conception goes a little harsher than what her cousin would call acceptable. Supergirl is all about refusing to let the cruelties of the world break you. Sometimes that can be as personal as not letting a monster define your life. Sometimes it can be as broad as risking your life to protect others. Even Kara's murder of Krem is treated as a moment of vindication for Kara instead of a moral breaking point. Seeing her live up to her mother's ideals for her, Supergirl works best when it lets itself dig into the challenges of staying positive when you've faced so much tragedy. Kara initially drinks her way to bliss, but finds renewed purpose in helping Ruthie and saving Krypto. It sets up her future appearances after Supergirl to be more rooted in proactive heroics and gives her a reason to try Earth again. And that's everything Supergirl's ending sets up for Kara Zor-El in the future of the DC universe. While her journey begins with loss, anger, and uncertainty, the movie makes one thing clear: Kara's story is only just beginning. With Krypto back by her side and a new purpose ahead of her, she'll likely play a major role in everything James Gunn has planned for the DCU. Now I want to hear from you. What did you think of Supergirl? Did you enjoy Millie Alcock's debut as Kara Zor-El? And where do you think she'll appear next in the DC universe? Share your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to Plot Unlocked, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest DC, Marvel, movie reviews, ending explained videos, and breakdowns. Thanks for watching, and remember, the DC universe is only getting started. I'll see you in the next video.